sports listeners. I'm your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday.
This whole hour of Santa Barbara teen athletes. Woo! And we're talking all athletes.
Good morning, everybody. I'm looking at everybody in the room. It's funny, we're all drinking coffee. Everybody raise your glasses. I got flowers on my cup. Let me see. Don Sanders, Island Seed and Feed. All about you, baby. Mountain Sage Healing. Of course, he doesn't want to advertise anybody, so he just has a white cup. What's going on, Richard Ellsworth?
How you doing?
Dr. D, you got coffee?
I'm going to be getting my latte following this program.
Oh, there you go. Alex Ramirez is in the house. Let me see your cup, dude.
Coffee.
He's got one of those thermal, really cool.
It's a hydro flask. Yeah, it
he's got a Gen Z. That's it. Go, baby. He's very current. All right.
I just want to know, with those kinds of cups and mugs and things, how does it know to keep a cold beverage cold and a hot beverage hot? I've never understood that.
A smart cup.
I was going to say, that must be the original AI.
Yeah, well, the reason why I don't have him here is because sometimes I'm very blessed. You know, when people around this house like to do the coffee, and I get handed coffee. But if I had one of those cups, I wouldn't know if it was yesterday's coffee because it stays hot for like 3 days, right? No, thank you. I'd be afraid of that.
I don't let it last that long. 30 minutes.
Oh,
30 minutes.
There you go. All right, so we're going to change it up a little bit. We do have the highlights. We have the recaps. The kids are going to be here momentarily, but I do have a bit of news, and I'm excited. I don't know if you remember, we touched on this, but this is going back like 3-4 years ago. Washington High football coach Joseph Kennedy, he was fired because he had a circle and he was, the kids took a knee and they prayed. Okay. So because of that, I don't know, somebody got temperatured that. It was maybe a time and a place where, you know, things were going on in a person's life or whatever. But anyway, it caught fire. The guy was fired. Dominique remembers the situation. We talked about it briefly. I didn't want to really get into it, but at the end of the day, if you're a freedom fighter, I mean, you have a right. Now, when I coached 28 years, everybody knows that, I always had made circles. And before the practice started, it ended. And it wasn't about God, Mary, Joe. I used to say, I don't care if you want to just sit back and reflect. This is a reset. Okay, this is a time to breathe and get fired up. I want you to dump everything of that day because right now it's a new start. I need you to bring your best. My job as a coach, if I really love kids and everybody knows as much as I do, I got to bring the best out of you. So at the end of the day, March 21st of this year, 2023, he's running to the bank with $1.7 million and he's getting his job back next year. Woo! And it went all the way to the Supreme Court. So again, I know Dominique has some insight in this. This is exciting news. So if something about what you stand for flares up, Dominique and I was talking about this last night and all this morning. I mean, Dominique, give some tips.
We're just saying that life is about relationships, and that it's really important to have personal integrity about what you're doing and create space so that everyone can be authentic. And so we feel like that's what the goal was, to create space for authenticity, but also too, it gives coaches a little more freedom to help their team reset before a game, and then also assimilate what happened in the game before they go back to their home life and take up their studies. So it's a really nice chance to do a reset.
I loved it. Alex.
Wait, so can you explain it just a little bit? So the situation was the coach took a moment of prayer.
Yes. And he got fired for praying. And it was in Washington. It was a high school, public school in Washington. He was a football coach, and he got fired for it. And it was just that he couldn't get another job either. So he was just really shut down, shunned the whole thing. But he stood his ground. Time passed. You know, this was going through COVID. There was a lot of fire and craziness going on at that time, as we all know. A lot of energy was flying around. But at the end of the day, when you really believe in something strongly, you know, things are going to fall on the right side of right with time. Okay, with time. So I just always knew that, because this is one of the rights where our country was founded on, is freedom of speech. Okay. And you have a right to say what you want to say. And again, I wasn't there.
So long as you're not injuring other people. So,
Right.
you're being respectful and you're not injuring other people.
Right. And I always made it so blanket. It's just what students, really, a lot of teachers that I know, they won't even say in public schools prayer, but they'll say a moment of silence.
Yeah.
I mean, Christine, on the earliest levels of child education at a Waldorf level, I mean, how did you approach this?
Well, we're a private school, and so I did that all the time. I mean, I don't know if I want to say prayer, but I would light candles, and I would invoke certain things. Every morning I would sing a song. Good morning, dear earth. Good morning, dear sun. Good morning, dear stones and the flowers, everyone, and talk about, the world. And then we would say, cared for by angels, that I would invoke this comfort and this care and this alignment with the natural world as well as the spiritual world, just as a part of being in the world. Because when I was a kindergarten teacher, and Waldorf education in general really wants goodness and truth and beauty to be acknowledged in every moment, so that there are so many good things in the world,
Yeah. Dominique.
There's a beautiful, forget the tribe, but there's a Native American tribe that has some very beautiful poetry, and it talks about walking in beauty, and that this is how we want to be on the earth. We want to walk in beauty.
The beauty way: before me beauty, behind me beauty, above me beauty, below me beauty. I walk the beauty path. I walk the beauty way. I think that's Cherokee, but I could be wrong.
Of course, yeah. Christine Marie would know.
That's one of my major prayers all the time. And in fact, in Waldorf, we have this thing called eurythmy, where there's movement, and movement makes, and every sound is related to a movement. And so I've created this own movement thing for myself when I say that prayer, because and beauty to me is not just physical beauty. It's joy, it's alignment with self, it's love, it's connection to all that is truly beautiful in the world. Yeah.
But I think prayer doesn't necessarily have to be religious. I mean, we go through envisioning things all the time. Like, it's like, envision what you want out of this event, out of this conversation, out of your schooling. Like, I envision I'm going to have a moment of silence out, or even before I work out.
Oh, it's Navajo. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Get it right. Not Cherokee.
Navajo.
I'm going to switch words.
But it comes down to, like, envisioning having that moment of peace, silence. Even before training, you try to get some big, deep breaths, you warm up. It can be meditative. It could be prayer, moment of silence. It's all the same thing. You're all envisioning the good, trying to make peace with the environment around you. And of course, depending on the situation, what your goal is. I mean, we all need a little silence and calm in our brain. I mean, sometimes they tell us, just sit in silence for 5 minutes. Calm your brain down. At
the end of it, when you shut down on something and you are on the side of the greater and higher good, it's nice. You just have to be patient that it always is going to shake out at the end of the day, because and this is all going back to relating and relationships and building that foundation. And that's what we're trying to do here on Teen Sports Radio, is to help and mentor our kids not to be afraid. I mean, if people are going to look at you, that whole word of being a conspiracy theorist or anything, and I looked at that word up, and it was like an unlawful word. And I looked at Dominique, I'm like, God, what a silly way to define a word. And then Dominique, give the list of things that we can conspire to do every day, right?
Conspire for health, conspire to win the game, conspire to do well on a test, conspire to have fun when you're doing something that's difficult. Conspire means to come together and have a like mind about something and make it happen. So have a plan, plot for happiness.
Yeah. So since 2010, basically on this show, Teen Sports Radio, we've always supported the essential role of youth sports. Of course, we included art, we include music, we include any youth activities to improve health benefits, pro-social behavior. That's what I'm talking about. Let's try to get the kids to learn how to connect and not be afraid to stand on your principles, improve any kind of emotional and psychological health, increase academic performance, provide an improved sense and overall well-being. And this, we are as a community, and how we serve the community is we give away 44 minutes a week of free advertising on AM and FM Express Radio. So I just want to sit right now and just thank the public, the world. I'm just so grateful to have this opportunity to be with you all. And I just want to tell you, I love you all. Okay. And we've got so many people that have been in and out of the show. And I think we've provided a really good platform for kids. So many of our teen athletes are in broadcasting right now, which is great. So without any further ado, let's get to it. All right. We have a lot of exciting games with all these high schools. They're going back and forth with each other. So let's get to it. In the house, Romy Davies, Santa Barbara High School Dons. Romy!
Thank you, Erica, and hello, everyone. This is Romy Davies, Santa Barbara High School senior, reporting back from Santa Barbara, California, with this week's SB Dons Sports Recap, which goes out to my friends on team. In track news, Gianna Stump was the Channel League champion in the triple jump. Coach Olivia Perdices said that she's been jumping great the last few weeks, and hopefully she can keep that energy rolling into CIF. Sienna Gronkeys was second in the pole vault at 10.0, and Annie Connect was third in the 1600. For the boys, Davis Flanagan qualified with a pair of second-place finishes in the long jump and in the triple jump. He also led off the third-place 4x400 meter relay, running with Drew DeLoisier, Carter Battle, and Andreas Stibdahl. In baseball news, Eric Anthony went the distance, allowing 4 hits, 1 run, and striking out 7 to win a pitcher's duel against Pacifica in a 2-1 season-ending Channel League game. The game was tied at 1 in the bottom of the 6th inning when Grady Wilson doubled on the first pitch, driving in Tanner Trider with the eventual winning run. Dane Dawson went 2 for 2 at the plate to lead the boys in hits. The boys finished 8-6 in Channel League play and 13-13 overall. In volleyball news, Santa Barbara had wins at the 1, 3, and 5 positions and beat host Santa Margarita Catholic High on Tuesday. This victory advances us into a first-round match at Newport Harbor on Thursday, and number 1 Gracie Meinzer combined with Gwen Chenoweth to win in straight sets. Coach Kristen Hemby said that everyone contributed and played excellent. That's it for this week's SB Dons recap, and see you next time.
Thank you, Romy. All right, next up, the president, senior president. Actually, she's a junior, but she's the president of her class right now. DP High School, Valeria Romo, Chargers, talk to me.
Thanks, Erica. And hey, everyone, I'm Valeria Tiburcio Romo, and I'm back with this week's Charger recap. To start off, boys lacrosse had a game against Santa Barbara. The final score was 18-8, the Chargers taking the win. Senior Cairo Rios really carried this game with 4 goals and 1 assist. Girls lacrosse also played against Santa Barbara. The team was led by senior Avery Ball, who scored 7 goals. The final score was 17-5, the Chargers taking the win. Then boys golf had a match against San Marcos. The final score was 415-392. Unfortunately, the Chargers lost. This was their first league loss. Going back to girls lacrosse, they played against Nordhoff. A total of 9 players scored for the team in this game, including junior Beth Baker, who had her first ever hat trick. The final score was 15-1, the Chargers taking the win. Girls softball also had a huge win against Ventura High School. The final score was 14-3. The seniors really showed out this game with Bella Nuno and Mia Reveles both having 1 home run and Riley Monroe going 4 for 4 with 3 RBIs. For baseball, the seniors also led their team to victory against Santa Maria. Zach Zabinden pitched 4 scoreless innings, striking out 4 batters, and Stanford commit Ryan Spacek went 2 for 2 with a double and a home run. The final score was 14-2. And finally, boys volleyball. They played against Westlake to advance into the next round of CIF playoffs. Senior Grant G. Money Hughes had 27 assists, 7 digs, 3 kills, and 5 aces. The final score was 3-1, the Chargers taking the win. So they will now advance into the next round of CIF playoffs. Good luck, boys. And that is it for this week's Charger recap. I'm Valeria Tiburcio Romo, and I'll see y'all next week.
Bishop Diego High School, Sean Walters. What's going on over there?
Thank you so much, Erica. This is Bishop Diego High School senior Sean Walters coming to you live on another day in Santa Barbara. Starting us off with softball, on Thursday, the girls shut out San Ynez 17-0 at home on senior night. Seniors Lily Simlon, Lucy Plowman, Mia Bazzani, and Kayla Desjardins all contributed to the victory. Lily went 2 for 4 with 2 RBIs and scored 1 run. Lucy went 2 for 4 and scored 1 run. Michaela had 1 RBI and scored 2 runs. And Mia was walked twice and scored 2 runs. The following day on Friday, they were then able to close out the regular season with a 7-4 victory at Coastal Christian. Great job, girls. Now, not as great news in the baseball world, as our guys unfortunately lost on senior night 10-4 to a very tough Grace Brethren team. Our seniors totally gave it their all though, as Isaac Veal was responsible for bringing home all of the runs. He ended the day going 1 for 3 with 1 home run, 3 RBIs, and scoring 2 runs. Other seniors Caden Garone and Paul Zoltolski made some big plays on defense as well, and Ryan Reinschild pitched a complete game in his last high school game. Everyone is certainly proud of our seniors' efforts. Sadly, another sport has to come to an end as the boys volleyball team lost 3-0 in the first round of the Division IV playoffs at Anaheim High School. Senior Braylon Caters led the way with 9 kills. Senior Liam Flood had 7 kills and 11 digs. Caden Ramirez had 15 digs, and Austin Carty had 24 assists. Congrats on a great season, guys. Well, everyone, that concludes this week's Bishop Sports Recap. Thank you so much for listening, and please don't forget to tune in once again next week. This is Sean Walters signing off.
Thank you, Sean. San Marcos High School Royal Duet, Ambrose and Sammy. Talk to me.
Thanks, Erica. It's Sammy and Ambrose here with your weekly sports update.
To start off, we'd like to congratulate 9 San Marcos student athletes who signed to compete at the next level.
We had Caden Hodina at Lewis and Clark,
Cal Foley going to Hunter College,
Justin Hess at Westmont,
Alex Staff going to Caltech,
Jaron Depew committed to Bowdoin,
Jordan Lind going to Claremont McKenna,
Leonel Alibo to Westmont,
Mackenzie Favre to Westmont,
and Zoe Ziskin to Harvard University.
Also, congrats to Brendan Shikata for being named Roundtable Athlete of the Week.
Starting off with lacrosse, our girls beat Thatcher last Monday 7-6 in a Channel League match.
Senior Casey Springer dodged a defender and fed Stump in the middle of Thatcher's backer zone, and the sophomore finished her chance to break a 6-6 tie.
Congrats Clara Stump on the game-winning goal.
And last Wednesday, Springer scored 8 goals, giving her 101 points in her career, leading the Royals to an 18-12 win over Santa Barbara.
I'm so happy for Casey, and she is the first Royal to 100 points and now the first Royal to 100 goals in a career, Coach Ramsey said. Neither had been done before this season, and she is one of our hardest workers, and now that work has paid off. Great job, Casey.
Moving on to golf, our boys beat Dos Pueblos 392-413 last Tuesday at Sandpiper.
Senior and UC Davis bound Leo Metzger and junior Shams Jahangir Arshad of the Royals each shot even par 72 to share medalist honors.
This was the league team final for both teams. San Marcos finishes at 7-0.
Congrats Leo Metzger on your last high school match. Good luck in the individual and team tournaments.
Moving on to tennis, the San Marcos doubles team of twin brothers Charlie and Joey Friedman finished an undefeated Channel League season as league champions.
The pair has not lost a match all season.
This week, we'd like to give a shout out to Mr. Solis.
And that's all we have for you guys this week.
Back to you, Erica.
Fantastico. Next up, Don Sanders. Hooga.
And this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
Hi, I'm Don Sanders, DonsMassageOhio.com, and I want to lay a hygge on you today. A hygge is comes from Norwegian Danish tradition, meaning a moment or a state of mind where you feel comfy and cozy. You might actually feel like you're receiving a hug without actually physically having a hug. And so a couple, I want to, because I'm one behind, there a short time ago celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary. And my son had us down at his restaurant where he cooks. And boy, this not only did they take fabulous care of us with the food, and it's the Duchess in downtown Ojai, and he all of his coworkers and managers, everybody came around the table telling us, what a joy it is to work with him, and how, what a nice young man he is, and sensitive and caring, and boy, that just gave me an all over warm feeling from the top of my head to the bottom of my toes, and the wait staff, the manager comes out and says Ryan is such a great fusion of you two parents, and everything. And so, yeah, so that one, I'm still riding high on that one. But then the other one was, with the recent rains and everything, I finally had to get out and tackle some gardening yesterday. And I have enough weeds in my yard for 4 properties my size, but I managed to make it through that and clear the garden paths and start replanting. And that was it's just being out there. I used to work at a community center in my Buddhist Sangha where older people would come and volunteer their time. And then a man who was kind of like an uncle to me, he said, they do that because they put their hands in the soil and it literally grounds them. It literally gives them vitality and energy. And I always experience the same thing, whether I'm out there for 15 minutes or hours or whatever. And just seeing everything kind of put back into a rough order and feeling the vibe out there, just absolutely fantastic. A while ago, Christine mentioned Walking in Beauty. It's funny, a little song that came to me years ago. My wife and I had been with these men's and women's groups, and they were having a homecoming ceremony, the women, and this little ditty popped into my head that went something like, light the fire in my heart, help me cross this sea of doubt. Light the fire in my heart, help me cross this sea of doubt. Since our time here is short, let us walk in beauty. Since our time here is short, let us walk in beauty. That's all I had.
I've heard that.
Alex.
Yeah, anybody? I know Dominique got her garden going again recently and sent me pictures.
Yeah, Alex.
Yeah, I'm waiting for my gardener to. I can't tackle all the weeds that I have in my house right now. They're too tall. I mean, it would take me 2 days. I would have to, stop working for 2 days. So I got a gardener coming to help me out today, and then I'm gonna get into it this weekend. And I always feel that grounded feeling when I get out into the garden. It's so nice. I recommend everyone do like 30 minutes of gardening.
Well, I just had a client.
Watering the plants. I mean, it could be the simplest thing of watering.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So easy. It's just so nice to get out in nature.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine, and so you have 4 corners of a house, right? And she's got 4 kids, and they've been just getting kind of rambunctious. So she basically delegated each side of the house to one of her children, and they're getting help. And she's going around, and she's having mommy, one-on-one time with each child. And they're just organizing it their way. They could put in anything they want, whether it's be flower beds, herbs, vegetables. And I just thought that was absolutely brilliant. I wanted to share that. And then one is doing by seeds. One just wanted, so she's, the only thing is she goes, Erica, listening to your show, and it's great. You got us into the earth, but I must have been to Home Depot like 20 times. And I go, well, Island Seed and Feed is closer. Okay, so why don't you try them? And if you look at it, and a lot of times, there you go. That's when Don said he lifted that coffee cup. So, yeah. And this is the kind of thing when you get, because Dominique and I reflect back, when you get to a certain age, now you have, reflection because, the train is going into the mountains now. So you just want to have all the people that you love. Okay. No, I'm in the caboose. Okay. I put myself in the back. I don't have to drive the train. Okay. I like to look at everybody and wave goodbye. All right. So what I say is this is a good thing to connect, right? Like when Don was saying, hey, we got that feedback from people and it's really nice. And these are the things you're going to look back on, like when Dominique did her bread and her starter. She wants to grab something, a moment with her grandmother. And on a spiritual side, she knows when she's making this starter, when she's making this bread, she's reconnecting to her grandmother. So you form those relationships now, parents. And I know you've got a lot of us are in survival mode, but we got it. You just have to. I don't care if you have to journal out 2 hours per kids. Dominique, when she was working with her mom, they had Mommy Mondays. I have a friend that's child is named Tiffany. So you have Tiffany Tuesday. So figure it out and make a plan. Dominique.
I was just going to add, if there's any teens that have never done any sort of a garden, if you start with herbs, that's really satisfying. You just go to Trader Joe's. They have herbs in a planted in a small container, and you can just put that on the table and just start with an herb. But if you do get a chance to go to Island Seed and Feed, which is tucked away in Goleta, it's like you swing off on Fairview and then you swing around, and it's where Cox Cable is on one side and then Island Feed's on the other. Look it up on the map. But they have a local nursery, sprouting things for them. So if you want to get it going, grab a squash, grab a tomato, and have fun. It's amazing. It takes about 3 months for you to see your fruits and vegetables grow. But wow, it is so amazing.
All right. Richard Ellsworth is smiling at me because he knows he's up next. Stay here.
Say, move for me, move for me, move for me, yeah. When you're done, I'll make you do it all again. Dance for me, dance for me, dance for me, oh, oh. I never seen anybody do the things you do before. They say, move for me, move for me, move for me, yeah. And when you're done, I'll make you do it all again. I said,
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Richard Ellsworth, and today I am not at chiropractic school, but I'm in Santa Barbara visiting. Sometimes you need that good chiropractic care that you can only get at home. And just contributing to that garden conversation, for the first time, I have my own garden, which is very interesting. I haven't planted anything in it yet, but I'm excited to do that. But soil is a really cool thing because everything that we touch actually contributes to our microbiome. And we have a microbiome on every single surface of our bodies in every single place, and they're different. They're not the same in every place. The microbiome on our hands is very different than the microbiome in our mouth, for instance, which has over like 600 types of bacteria. But it's pretty cool because these bacteria can either be good for us or they can be bad for us. And as a society, we have a really interesting way of dealing with all these things. And we like to get rid of them, right? Really interesting thing is that when we wash our hands, we think that we're getting rid of bacteria, but actually we're stirring up all the bacteria from our microbiome, and our hands are dirtier just after we wash them for a while. And then we start touching things and the bacteria spreads, and then the amount of bacteria on our hands actually lessens. So that's kind of an interesting fact. So washing your hands is, not necessarily so effective. Soap is really great because it acts as it binds to the lipids, the fats, and lifts them off mechanically. Right? It's a mechanical thing. It's not actually destroying bacteria. It's lifting them off. So that can actually be safer, soap and water, than using any of the chemicals. However, in class, we did a little test where we went through a whole bunch of different types of typical household chemicals to determine what was most effective. Bleach, Lysol, all of these different things. And the most effective one out of all of them was bleach, which is interesting. And it's also interesting because it's one of the least harmful ones to breathe in comparison to the other ones. Obviously, we don't want to be breathing bleach, on the side, but, it's still, better than something like Windex or even the alcohol wipes that we use are not quite as effective for certain types of bacteria. You don't want to be washing your hands with bleach, but it's a great way to wash down a surface if you dilute it, if you're concerned about that type of microbial activity. And the other thing that we never think about is how heavy metals, which we don't want in our system, but are great outside of our system, can actually detox and clean stuff, like copper. A lot of people put water in copper, and it actually completely cleans out the water. It alkalizes it, cleans it, sanitizes it. People use iron in pipes and stuff, and iron actually, believe it or not, is antimicrobial to some extent. And out of every single heavy metal tested, the most effective one for killing microbes and bacteria is silver. How cool is that? So
that's why we have silverware.
Silverware, yes, exactly.
Wow.
How cool is that? So Alex, I was just wondering, with having a gym and such, and having all of these different people working out and using different types of machinery and surfaces, do you have a way that you keep things clean, or do you trust in the innate immunity? What's your practice?
He has everybody walk around with a silver fork, knife, and spoon.
Everything is silver and copper, silver and copper all throughout the gym. Silver and copper. No, you're making me rethink the solution that I use for cleaning. I get it from Home Depot. It's a solution. It comes in a big yellow bottle. It's got all these different active ingredients in there, but now it's like, well, is that really doing the job? Is it spreading it out, so to speak? Is it, when people get sweaty, is it now spreading out and getting dispersed? Do I actually need to go and hose down with my mats with some bleach now? Now I'm questioning everything, and I do have something that I use, but I might need to rethink that. So if there's something that you would recommend, honestly, like if you have like a ratio of water to bleach, and if you think that's the best for cleaning down, wiping down mats, wiping down where people touch and sweat, I mean, if that's the best approach, I'd rather do that. And it kind of seems like it would be most cost effective and least harmful.
Yeah, you would want to just dilute it by about 3 parts. So you would have 1 part bleach to 3 parts water. Okay. And that would be enough. I mean, even to put in a spray bottle. And the smell shouldn't be too strong, but I would recommend, after spraying things, having some open space to just air it out a little bit, because bleach can be pretty strong. And these things are a little bit more effective than using even natural solutions like vinegar or acid at removing bacteria, believe it or not.
How about the disinfectant sprays they put out places like in the gym?
I actually have no idea what's in those. Right. I have no clue what's in those.
Right.
Not bleach, unless it's not bleach. It's not bleach for sure. I know, that's what I'm saying. Like all these products that I have do not have bleach, and so if that's the most effective solution,
they're usually alcohol based. The ones that are in our gyms. I was going to ask you about hydrogen peroxide. Making a solution of hydrogen peroxide in water, does that work as well?
And that works as well. So the only concern with all of these is that you have 2 different types of bacteria. You have anaerobic and aerobic. Aerobic requires oxygen, anaerobic does not to survive, right? These different chemicals, believe it or not, none of them, except for something like bleach or something really harsh like Lysol, actually act on both species. So hydrogen peroxide is also extremely effective. But it's peroxide, so it works for the aerobic producing bacterial species, but not so well for the non oxygen producing species.
Can you add one second? Can you add something to the bleach? For example, lemon or oils?
Yes, absolutely, and I would highly recommend that.
I was going to ask that.
Is pretty strong.
See that bit?
But you also said Lysol. So do you think, like, for people who don't want to do the 3 parts water, 1 part bleach, would you recommend Lysol as a short-term solution, or even long-term for some?
Yeah, solution. Lysol is
no pun intended.
Lysol is great and does work on both of those, and it is probably the strongest you can find. It's derived from something called phytol, which was extremely corrosive, and it was used back in the day. And then you ended up with Lysol derived from that, which is a lot safer around humans. But The problem is if you were to spray something down with Lysol and then consistently be touching it with your hands, it's going to severely disrupt that microbiome on your skin. And if you don't clear it off your skin pretty quickly with some soap and water, you could end up with some burns, especially if you have very sensitive skin. So, there are certain situations where Lysol is a little more appropriate, like surfaces where maybe you're not necessarily rubbing your hands around on them. But I would suggest for something like exercising equipment where you're actually handling it directly, you might want something that's a little bit less corrosive.
Woo! That's a lot to go over.
Thank you.
You are amazing. Richard Ellsworth, Mountain Stage Healing. You can check him out on Facebook. Let's get to Dominique Hackett right after these messages.
Well, now together we will stand, every boy, girl, woman, and a man. Together we'll stand, divided we'll fall. Come on now, people, let's get on the ball and work together. Come on, let's work together. Now, people, because together we will stand, every boy, every girl, and a man.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
Every single Tuesday.
9 a.m.
Hi there. This is Dominique Hackett with Santa Barbara Wellness Center. And I just wanted to talk real quickly. On Friday, I believe it is, we're going to have a lunar eclipse. And it's very interesting. If you follow the eclipses in the year, we have windows where we'll have a solar eclipse, and then 2 weeks later, we'll have a lunar eclipse. And if you look them up on the internet, you can find out whether they are partial or full, and you'll find out what time it is and whether you can actually see them or not. So if you've never seen a lunar eclipse, it's very fascinating because you literally see the moon go through all of its phases over a number of hours of time. And so it'll appear that the moon is full, and then it goes into its crescent phase, and then it disappears. And sometimes when it disappears, there's this beautiful light that encircles the moon. And sometimes the moon can appear to be red. So if you've never enjoyed astronomical events, our eclipses are astronomical events, and they're very fun. Now, on an astrological basis, eclipses can be a little wonky, and some of us can, experience intensity with what we're experiencing either in school, with tests, or maybe emotional intensity in relationships. So yeah, when you're in that window, give yourself a hug and have a little patience.
Nice. Kids, I always say, if you come across somebody that is, whatever the situation is, and you feel that they're erupting on you, use your words.
Yeah. So what you can say when someone's giving you a hard time or being super critical, or you can do a check-in and say, are you having an issue with me, or is it this particular issue? And we just need to talk this out a little bit. And I want to understand what you're feeling, and I want you to understand what I'm feeling, because relationships are based on feelings. You know how you say to someone, hey, I can relate, or I feel you? Well, that's what a relationship is. It's based on sharing feelings. And that's something that we do one-on-one. So, and it's hugely important. Don.
If they make a personal attack, don't go back personal. Just try and go to a question. Like so many questions you could ask that can diffuse a hot situation.
Well, it's also, like intimacy, right? Into me.
D-I-C.
So,
yeah.
Also, this is Christine Marie. It's also really important to reflect. Sometimes I'll feel attacked, and rather than go back into the attack, I'll say, so what I'm hearing you say is this. Mm-hmm. And I'll repeat back to the person what I'm hearing them say. And that stops them to then, to see, okay, yes, that's what I meant, or that's what I said. So it's very helpful in that way to do some reflection.
Yeah. Listen, we're going to take a short one right now because I want Christine Marie to, Dominique will pull a card. We're going to have a card for the week right after these messages.
We are back, and this is Santa Barbara Teen Sports Radio Show. I am your host, Erica, the Queen of Teen. Please tune in
every single Tuesday,
9 a.m.
Welcome back. This is Christine Marie with A View from the Deck, and we have chosen, specifically talking about reflection, which the full moon is a reflection. The card for today is the King of Wands, and the King of Wands is, I call it our spiritual superpower. What is it? What is it that is your spiritual superpower? Right. So this full moon eclipse is in, I believe, Scorpio.
It is, yeah.
And that's the secret hidden. That's your secret hidden superpower. What is that? What's that deep, dark down underneath? What's going on underneath there? I think, in the cards that I have, the cards that have made me into a reader, I would say the King of Wands is riding a black unicorn. What is the most magical and special of all unicorns? It's the black unicorn, right? And who sees those or talks about those, and he's riding very comfortably, and he's holding a torch, above him, but he's at one with that magical being. So it is his magical superpower. So I think as we look at this, at where this full moon eclipse in Scorpio is going to blip for us, reflect to us. When there's an eclipse, it's like there's a shadow that goes through and gives us a moment's pause to look at things. And so we can look inside and see, well, what is it, that part of us that maybe we've even been hiding from ourselves? What is that spiritual superpower? What is that thing that we have to offer?
I know what mine is.
Yeah. Love. Yay. Love. Yep. I what's that called? I'm sorry.
Conspiring to love. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm saying conspire to do everything now. That's it. I'm changing it. And then in a few years, they're going to change that definition. Okay,
I resemble that. I was trying to think of my response to that. Sometimes I say, "Oh, I resemble that." Right? That's similar to me too. That resonates with me. Love.
I resemble that remark.
Yeah, I resemble that remark. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. Well, we're heading into a crazy time right now. So use your words. Don't react to somebody's actions, right? Don't react. Ask questions.
Take a breath.
Relate. Yeah, take a breath, because 99.9% of the time, their actions are based on fear.
Mm-hmm. So, and our actions too can be based on fear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
and nothing's really personal, even when someone thinks it's personal. A lot of times we're all working through our own filters, and what we think, what we're hearing you say isn't necessarily what you meant to say. It's triggered something for us. That's why that reflection, super important. I heard you say this. Is this what you meant? This is how I heard it. So powerful.
Definitely. Let's work on that this week. All right. Dr. D, thank you so much. We're all going through stuff right now. We adore you. Little hug to you. All right, Richard, thanks for coming down to Santa Barbara. Adore you. Don Sanders, love you.
Thank you for the garden hygge.
Love the garden hygge. All right, we're going to check out Eternity Ready Radio. Thank you so much as well. Listeners now in Beijing, Bangkok. We've got them all. We're so thankful. All right. Having a global impact. God bless you all. See you next week.
I'm unstoppable.